Welcome back to another episode of Consultant Proficiency Resources, where we're breaking through traditional leadership style for optimum success. I'm Cheryl, founder and managing partner for CPR, and here at CPR, we resuscitate one business, one lead at a time. CPR is a business ministry whereby we integrate biblical plus business principles for optimum success. So if you're a minority woman-owned business, you might be a serial entrepreneur, business leader, a corporate executive, or even an educator, and you desire to elevate your leadership style, this is the platform for you. You can do so by simply hitting that subscribe button and, of course, the notification bell, so you'd be advised of all future uploads. If you're continuing along with us from our pilot series back in December 2022, we thank you for continuing along this transformational journey, and we can only hope that you've made the decision to invest you and your team in 2023. Human capital does matter, and as a leader, it's important that you understand the importance of professional development. Of course, starting with you and then your team. It's important that you are equally yoked with your team. Now that we've taken care of some housekeeping duties, it's important to know we say welcome to episode 9, the theme, the price of the truth and the cost of a lie. In honor of Black History Month that is celebrated in the month of February in North America, more specifically the United States and Canada, and we know some other islands and countries celebrate in the month of October, i.e. the United Kingdom, Ireland, Netherlands, I believe even in Brazil. So we take this opportunity to pay homage to the men and women who have paved the way before us, and understanding the importance of truth and that truth matters in today's day and time. So whether we consider biblical time and or up to the 21st century, we can find leaders who have paved the way, understanding there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay when we look at truth. That walk is a tight walk. However, as leaders, if you aspire to greatness in our own imperfections, understanding that we know that the God we serve, according to Psalms 145:8, is a God that shows compassion, and that He's gracious, and He's slow to anger, and He's plenteous to mercy. So as we aspire to greatness, that is our model, right? Understanding the importance of empathy and compassion for yourself and your team, your collaborators. You have to show kindness to yourself first, right? If you're mean to yourself, if you do not love yourself, it's hard for you to extend that to others. So it does start with you. Doing the work, self-reflection, building self-awareness, and then fanning out to others. We also know the importance of the tongue and how the tongue can wreak havoc. So there's one tongue, we must use it wisely, hence the reason, slow to anger. And of course, extending your mercy. Whether it's your customers as well. If a customer is unable to pay timely, you can extend mercy by doing something simple as providing a payment plan. That's what showing mercy in business looks like. So again, whether it's biblical times or in the 21st century, we could take a look at someone like Moses, raised in an Egyptian wealthy household, and when the time came for him to step up as a leader, even though in his mind he had an impediment, a speech impediment, he took the bull by the horn. He stepped up in faith and he did the work. But yes, there was a price to pay. He had to abandon his riches to take up that leadership role, to lead his people out of Egypt. Today we could fast forward to the 21st century as we consider Mandela, who the world knows as Nelson Mandela, the late Nelson Mandela, an activist and a lawyer by trade. He was an anti-apartheid, and he knew the price to pay in pushing the envelope with the government, with the understanding that there should no longer be apartheid in South Africa. He spent many years in prison, a few nights here and there in solitary confinement, and I'm sure at that point there must be some level of awakening. But he understood, most important, that there's a price to pay for truth and justice. And ultimately, one of the prices we know that he paid was in terms of his personal space. Time is one resource you cannot regain. All those years in prison, in solitary confinement, though it might have been edifying for him, he could not regain that time spent with his family, including his children and his wife. Also, we understand that at some point in time his health was compromised, but eventually he was released, and he had the wherewithal to be able to run for president. And of course, at this point in time, history has already been written. So indeed, he was first president after the ban of apartheid, and remarkable. But he knew, if you read his bio or view the movie, he knew indeed there was a price to pay for truth. Truth matters. Character matters in the 21st century. In business school, we were taught the importance of competition, and sometimes a little bit cutthroat competition, to make it on top regardless of whose back you climb to get there. And that lends more to toxic work culture as opposed to understanding the price of truth. Pursuing truth regardless of the end result should be front and center in your decision making. In the 21st century, in February 2023, as global citizens, we are at a crossroad between wisdom, ignorance, truth, lie, being sober, or staying in a slumber. We indeed at a crossroad. We're at a critical juncture where we have to make a decision. And in making that decision, what we will come to know is that that will have lasting effects, personally and professionally. So choose ye this day: wisdom, ignorance, truth, lie, sober, slumber. Proverbs 2 to remind us to incline our ear to wisdom. And it's important that what we read, people we associate with, what we allow our eyes to witness, must be edifying in a way that provides wisdom. Incline your ear to wisdom. And if you decide that you are pursuing truth, you're going to begin the process. You're going to seek, and once you decide to seek, doors are going to begin to open. There will be a level of manifestation where answers and solutions will manifest itself to you. So it's important to understand Mathew 7:7. Seek. You first have to do the self-reflection and self-awareness in terms of seeking. You shall find. Knock, the door shall be open. Information solution will manifest itself. There's a quote coming from Nelson Mandela himself. He said, education is a weapon that can be used to change the world. Again, education is the weapon that can be used to change the world. And I totally agree with it. So when we define education, whether formal or informal, it is important that when we do our self-awareness exercises and we understand that gap, because no one is perfect, understanding that knowledge gap, that deficiency that we possess, that we must replace it quickly with something that's edifying, and it must start. The most basic premise must be that of truth as our source. We must have that foundation of truth. So we must do the work day in and day out. We must do it with compounds. We have positive compound, according to author James Clear. And when you do it a day out, we will indeed move towards evolving into moral and ethical leaders. So in the month of February, as we pay homage to the men and women who have paved the way, though not perfect, the origin of these men, and you'll see women as well, is based on truth. And there's indeed a price to pay for truth. We're going to conclude, as always, with a precept. And today we're going to look at the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms, chapter 15, verses 2. And we consider verses 2 and verses 5. And it reads, He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. He that putteth not out his money to usury, nor taketh reward against the innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved. So part of understanding the truth is part of walking righteously. Not being self-righteous, but walking righteously. And in speaking the truth, that's going to be your compass. That's going to be your moral compass in terms of the decisions that indeed you make as a whole. So it's important that we understand indeed there is a price for truth that we all must pay once you desire to elevate your leadership style, to move and to walk in a way that is based on truth. Regardless, there indeed is a price for truth. So we hope that you'll join us, take this message to heart, food for thought, and you will join us for episode 10 as we conclude Black History Month in the United States, in North America. We're going to have one more episode looking at part 2, the price of truth, and of course the cost of a lie. There is a cost when you base your decisions on falsehood or alternate fact. We hope that you will join us. Once again, thank you so much for listening to episode 9, The Price of the Truth and the Cost for a Lie, part 1. See you in episode 10.